Welcome to another episode of The Stories That Bind Us. I'm actually recording from my phone this time. I wanted to share, I had an amazing last few days. So I've been going through some stuff and decided that I'm going to take more time doing the things I really enjoy doing. So I went to see my friend Mike Sullivan play in the NoHo Park in my neighborhood in North Hollywood, where they have actually Midsummer Night festivals going on. Like 2 bands are playing every Saturday in the summer. It's actually over. Last week was the last show. So I was like, I live really close by and it's my friend. I should go and support him. So that's where I actually met my guest today, which is also so incredible because so often, we don't allow ourselves to get to know people. We feel alone, we feel isolated, while there's all this life out there, so many people that are totally open and willing to connect with you if you sometimes just have to make the first step. So my guest, Rosalyn Kahn, who is an author, she is a public speaker, she is a life coach, and she's also done some TED Talks. And I would have never found out if we didn't have a conversation. She came up to say to Mike she loved the show, and then she actually bought a CD. And I said, "What? By the way, what's your name?" I took a picture of them. So, and I sent her the pictures, and she was so grateful for that. And then we exchanged numbers, and that was just such a cool thing. And I said, "Oh my God, you sound so interesting. Can I have you on my podcast? I love what you're doing." She's like, "Of course, why not?" So that would have never happened if I would have not said hello, right? If I would have just said, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, and she's a fan, and then just let it go. So that was freaking awesome. That was such a cool thing that happened. And then yesterday, my friend Dark Mark, for whom I've been playing some shows, like when he has events going on at Club CIA, and he hit me up the other day saying, "Hey, Blondie is playing at the Greek Theater. Do you want to come with me?" And I'm like, "What? Sure." So I got to see Blondie, and I can't believe that I've never seen Blondie because she is amazing and I loved her all along. So, and Elvis Costello, he was amazing too. So it was so fun to do this. And, part of me wanted to feel guilty that I should be in the studio working on music. I'm going to a music conference and I'm so not prepared. And part of me is like, you know what? Right now, I'm taking this time to do the things I love, to find myself again, to reconnect with what really makes life enjoyable for myself, for me, and feeds my artist self, my artist soul. So it was incredible. I'm so grateful. I have really amazing friends. And sometimes we tend to forget that, and also sometimes people come and go in your life. So it's totally fine when the shift is happening. And I feel a little bit of a shift happening where I hang out with more people that I used to not hang out with. And I absolutely love that. So I encourage you to do the same. So with no further ado, my guest, so spontaneous and so cool. She decided to come on the podcast, not even we met on Saturday and we recorded it on Monday. So it's like not even 3 days later. With no further ado, here's Rosalyn Kahn. Hey guys, this is Jacqueline van Bierk with another episode of The Stories That Bind Us. I have with me my guest Rosalyn Kahn, who is a public speaker. She's a life coach and an author of this book, Roses and Dogs, Dogs and Roses. It's right in front of me and I still reverse it. I'm totally dyslexic. We just met recently at the park, in the North Hollywood Park. They hold events, community events, where they have bands playing. And it's just such a great thing to do because a lot of times we don't even know our neighbors or the people in our community, and community is so important. And it's just nice to make new friends and relate and connect and hopefully support one another, So with no further ado,
hi,
Rosalyn.
Nice to meet you. It was so wonderful meeting you and
So
just
nice
seeing
you.
you rocking out with that up and coming artist. They show new artists that are coming up, and I just really
It was so great.
enjoyed Michael's music. It was just
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, my friend Michael Sullivan was performing, and he is such a talented guy. I swear to God, I've collaborated with him once in a while, and he just makes up songs. I'm like, Mike, slow it down, one song at a time. He's got like 100 songs on him. Like, I swear to God, like at once. It's just very, very creative, very talented. And then the Elton John band. Did you start going on
Oh
for that?
yeah,
Right?
that was
They
that
were
was
amazing.
that was wonderful. It
Yes.
was just like, this is not really them. I mean, they must have watched the tapes over and over and over to emulate the moves, the gestures, the sounds. That's how it's all done, and you could tell.
Yeah. I was like, I wonder if that's actually Elton John. Like, he sounded so much like him, right? It would have been so cool, him just totally being incognito.
Yep.
So, we just met. You gave me a card, and I was like so impressed. I was like, "Can you please come to on my podcast?" And you're like, "Yeah, why not?" And here you are, not even a week later. How did you get to the point where you become a public speaker? Become an author. What led you to that?
It's kind of interesting. Way back when I was in high school, I was in a class where I gave one of my first speeches, and the guy said, "Oh, that's pretty good. You should go out for the speech team." And I gave some speeches and things like that. And they say the things that you do when you're young, you never know where they'll take you when you get older. And so when I was also in high school, I entered in high school in a body cast, which is one of the hardships I went ahead and faced. And so that kind of turned me inward. I enjoyed swimming and getting out in the public and things like that. And I had to step off for a while and not do what I normally did. And they say the hardships that we have in life go ahead and make us stronger people. As Michael was going ahead and saying he was the one that was bullied in his youth, and how that bully went ahead and brought him out. And his mother said, if you could do one thing to change another person's life, and my motto is life, if I can change one person's life with the words I say, you never know whose life you will change.
So very true.
And it was just kind of, from that, life just goes ahead and takes its path. I was in Toastmasters for a large number of years, and through Toastmasters I then graduated to a group called the American Society of Training and Development, and there was a person there who had suggested I go see a TED Talk, and so I went and talked to him, and he says, well, you got to go and experience it all. So as I went and I talked to him, he said the way is volunteering, and so I started volunteering with this organization, the TEDx Pasadena 2.0, and they were looking for some speakers, and they said, you should go out to the events. And I went out and met this guy who was eventually one of my mentors. His name was John Bates, and they were looking for someone to coach the speakers, and I brought John up to the group so he could go ahead and coach them. And they say you never do anything for nothing, because you never know who's going to help you in return. And the guy who coordinated the event was a guy by the name of Greg Apodaca, who was a fireman who's recently retired, and he said, I'd really like to offer you something in return for all the volunteer efforts you had done. And he gave me 6 months of coaching, and one of the things I wrote on that goal was I wanted to write a book one day, and I had no idea what the book was going to be. And my first book was on random acts of kindness. It was just going out and helping other people,
Oh, I love that.
Just give back to society. And there are all sorts of stories I collected from my students, and trying to get them to improve their art of public speaking and getting up there and getting out there and overcoming their fear. And then I was kind of in a depression at one point, and my life coach at a different point in time said, well, what makes you happy? And I said, dogs and roses. And as I walked in, I couldn't help but going ahead and getting to know your dog. And eventually he came up to me and he gave me a kiss, because all dogs love me. How could this dog be barking and growling at me? It's not the way it is. And one thing led to another. After going ahead and working with this guy on helping the speakers on the TED stage and him coaching me, I said, someday I'm going to be a speaker on that stage. And I coached about 10 to 12 people, and then just got up there, and I decided this is my turn, and I made it happen. And that was several years back, and I was looking for some more opportunities to get some more speeches underway, and this that led to 2, and number 3. So I've given about 3 TED Talks and trained about a dozen people, and delivered, your Betty says he's been on 300 college campuses. I've done hundreds and more than several hundred jobs just speaking in publics and things like that. So
I love that so much.
Yeah, and it's just helping to empower people from where they are to believe bigger than they are, that they can do more and they can do better. And I always have an eye for talent, and so if you go to my my page, I'm always, focusing on different artists and what they can do and where they're out there. And I love helping people. And I think that's what brought the two of us together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That servant need. And
I think it feels so, there's two things. First, you're saying you went through depression and then you were like, what makes me really happy? And I think a lot of people, when we are depressed, and I think most of us go through that, it's just like sometimes we are afraid to voice that.
Right.
Because we don't want to look at it as weak, or we don't want to be a burden to someone, so we just suppress it, and it becomes worse, right? Because if we're not seeking help or support, then we often can't get out. So helping someone else while we can't help ourselves is the first step, I think, and then really figuring out, what is my purpose? What is my passion? And you doing that, that's what got you out of your depression?
Yeah, it's just kind of, focusing on taking those pictures, even on those down moments a day. I'll call the dog over and the dog will sit there and look at me, and I'll come by my side and, just sit there, and I could show you countless pictures of the dog just sitting there posing and, putting in next to stuffed animals, and he just looks so cute, or having a bad time and just going out and, as you said, just smelling those roses.
Oh, I do that all the time. I don't even see when people they're just walking, right? They're just doing that thing on their phone, and I do it too. I'm guilty of that too. But I cannot even help looking at flowers, looking at nature, because a butterfly, right? Like a little hummingbird. To me, those are the little things that are magical and that get me back into that inner child in me that just appreciates the simple things, because it's so easy to get caught up in all the hustle, especially in Los Angeles, because we all hustle, we're all trying to pay our bills and get ahead, and helping others and being there for yourself too, right? It's so important. Then, so your depression, did you reach out just to your coach, or was there a time where you were like, took some medication, or like what did you actually do to deal with it at first? Well, if you don't mind me asking, because I think people need to hear this. People need to know that you are not alone and there is a solution, and there's no one way. Everybody deals with it differently. And so I would love to know how when you first got into it, and why were you, do you know why? Was it like...
Well, it's just, the countless things that everybody goes and you compare yourself. You look at other people and you just, those lessons that your parents go ahead and say that are indoctrinated into you. Messages that you just keep hearing over and over and over again. And, at one point, it was just focusing on those things. And another point, I had gone to see a doctor, and the doctor gave me some medication, and I don't like to become customized to going ahead and taking medicine. I don't like to be a habitual, I'm not going to be one of those opioid addicts or things like that. So,
exactly.
You try a little, and, what can I do on my own? There's, they say if you have a support group, if you have friends that you can reach out to that understand you, that just take you for who you are, why go ahead and pay a shrink thousands and thousands of dollars if you can just... It's just the friends, knowing that there's a person that you can pick up the call and say, just hear me out. I don't want you to do anything if you just listen to me. And I think there's things that all of us can do to, find those things, whatever it is, whether it's hugging a dog or going out in nature or drawing a picture or, bicycling or walking or, helping another. I think you hit it right on the head when you go and you serve other people, is where you really come to that resonation of, it's not about me, it's about helping this other person get past the point where they're at. That really resonates and makes us feel better.
And exactly, and that feel-good feeling from the law of attraction point, that's like you are in a different energy field suddenly, right? Where you're attracting more things and you become happier. And with the drugs, I totally agree, because I think that so many people are so addicted and relying on those drugs that don't really, like, whenever I go to a doctor, they even like pay medication. They're like, yeah, take this. I'm like, I don't really want to take it. And they look at me like I'm crazy. But I'm like, I want to feel the pain, because if I don't feel the pain, first of all, I could hurt myself more, right? If I don't feel the pain in my leg, I might just keep walking on it and hurt it more.
Right.
Second off, if I don't feel the pain, then I don't know if something is wrong with me. So I don't want to cover something up. I want to get to the root of it and get rid of it.
Right.
And I think that a lot of medication does not get rid of things. It just covers it up. And so many people run around numb.
Right.
You know, they rather not feel anything than deal with it. And dealing with your issues is so important. It's everything, because that's where change comes, and we all go through stuff. Nobody's life
It's
you know,
simple.
it's
Nobody
simple.
has a perfect script or a picture of what their life story is. It's not at all.
Exactly.
There's all bumps and the hurdles, and it's what makes life more beautiful.
Exactly. I mean, even Lady Gaga do you love her? Like, do you, when I saw her documentary about her disease, and I was like, oh my God, like, she is a badass, how could she even like get out when all her muscles are hurting, and she doesn't want to do anything, and I'm sure she is a little bit on drugs sometimes when she has to, right, because she has to
Right.
perform. But then thankfully she even said, thankfully I am famous and I have the money to get the therapy and the massages. But still, she could easily have said, I can't deal with it, I'm done, I'm not going to be an artist anymore, I'm not going to perform anymore, right? But she's doing it, she's going through it. And those kind of things are so inspiring, because even like those people have issues, just
Right.
different issues. We all have issues. So dealing with that is very important. So here's your book,
Mm-hmm.
Dogs and Roses, and I love this so much. You inspire me, because I've been wanting to make like a little table book, and I think that those are two of the most amazing things in life, like animals and plants, like flowers.
They certainly are. They certainly are.
It's so amazing. How long did it take you to write this book?
I think the longest part was going ahead and deciding, okay, I've got the pictures and let's make it happen. Enough playing with it. I had done this Vipassana meditation, and are you familiar with Vipassana?
No.
Vipassana is you go and you do this silent meditation retreat, and you can't talk for like 10 days.
Oh.
You can't talk for 10 days, and you simply meditate, and you go inside and you listen to what those thoughts are inside. And so I was inside and listening, and it said, there were certain groups of people I should stop hanging around, and this book that I was thinking about, I needed to just get up and get it out there. And I came back and I said, okay, this is it. I'm getting that book out there. We're going to make it happen. And so there it was. And it goes ahead and it helps our local veterans, so when they go to war, they don't need to lose their dogs. There's an organization back east that trains veterans for their dogs that I've been helping with, and just trying to help more and more people.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And 10 days of no talking. Oh my God. How did you get through that? That must be so hard.
My husband thought I must have been crazy, because he says, you've got to get in those 1,000 words a minute, but it's amazing. There's so much more that you can learn about yourself when you just quiet the voice and listen to what it says inside. We've got so much noise and so much racket and so much distraction that take us out of where we're at to just being present in the here and the now. It's just mind-boggling.
It is.
Mind-boggling.
It is. Even like in the morning, I try really hard when I get up to not, other than turning my alarm off, to not be on my phone right away, to check my social media, because right away you take a step out. You're already like caught up in everybody else's business, which is not good for us.
Right.
Because then it's like, what was our intention for the day? It's because it's so easy to check one little thing, and the next thing you know is I'm sure you're the same way. I like to help everyone, so I'm commenting and having it, and I'm like, why am I helping everybody?
Right.
It's like focus on my circle of friends, and it's or dedicate time to that, but like first thing in the morning, I think is so important to just like set
they
your
say
day.
the first couple hours in the morning to set your intentions, to have your fluids, to do your meditation, to say your words of gratitude before you go ahead and launch off into what's going on and happening. And they say they're the most critical hours are those first couple.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get up to go work, it's like you got to get up early to make it happen. It doesn't go ahead and happen. It sets up the whole day, goes another path.
Yeah. Do you have a routine that you do in the morning?
Well, I try. I get up in the morning and, I have a couple bits of fluid and been doing some meditation. And from the meditation, I will then try and do some exercises and things like that. And then,
I mean yoga exercises or
just stretching.
Okay.
Just stretching exercises if I can. Do some physical exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And then, get off and go to work? What's your pattern that you have?
Normally it's getting up, making my bed. That's my most important thing in the morning. Then I drink some water, usually brush my teeth and have a shake, and then take my dog out for a walk. Or if I walk someone else's dog, I do dog walking on the side a little bit. So I'll do dog walking, and I try to be back by 11. And then from 11 to 12, I have basically breakfast where I check my emails, which is not maybe good, but I do it kind of while I'm having breakfast. I really enjoy my coffee. So I just go through, like what's going on. But then when I have time, which I like to do actually first thing in the morning when I get up, writing my morning pages. Have you ever read that book, Julian Cameron, The Artist's Way?
Oh, I've heard about The Artist's Way.
Yeah, great book. And so for the longest time I've done it, but I have to get back to that because I really like that. Getting up first thing, writing my morning pages, then have the water and do everything else.
Right.
But it takes me about like 20 minutes to half an hour, so I have to actually set my alarm clock for that to make time for that. So then I take my dog out, I have breakfast, and then after breakfast I try to take care of some business stuff first, and then I make time for creative stuff where I'm just really focusing on working on music. It doesn't always happen because stuff happens. Some email, I have to write someone back, or looking for more opportunities. But I just learned from one of my coaches, and she is so inspiring, Kathy Heller. She's talking about, and she actually learned it from her coach, to spend 90 minutes a day on working on your business, not in the business, but on the business. And then the rest of the time, just, enjoy some of the day, sometime of the day, going for a walk, which thankfully I have a dog, so
right.
he makes me go in the park regardless,
right.
which is great. But yeah, I'm trying to get more structure in my day. And you're talking to someone who hates structure, But I think we all need some discipline and structure in our lives to really get productive, because a lot of times I catch myself being more busy than productive.
Right. We all fall into that. There's just too many hours of the day doing
frustrating.
Just so many different things other than what we should be doing. What needs to be done.
Yeah, setting priorities is still one of my struggles, to be honest, because I think a lot of times everything is important to me. I'm like, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, I need to get that. So, and also, do you chunk your time?
Well, I've heard that's really an important thing to go ahead and do. I'm going to spend a certain amount of time on this and a certain amount of time on this, and when you do that, that, okay, at least you've got this done, and at least you've got this done, and if you don't, just everything goes all over the place.
Yeah. So I tried that, but I have a tendency to go all in. So once I'm sending emails and pitching my music, I'm like, all right, I did 5, let's do 10. Let's do 15, let's do 20. I'm on, because I'm in that space, right?
Right.
So it's just something that, I guess, my addictive personality, or like...
Well, they always say, well, while the iron's hot, go ahead and do it. And
go,
and you'll make up. It's like, I think the most important thing I learned was, whatever happens each day, it's enough. I did enough.
I love that.
Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
And so you spend a little bit more time on this day, the next day we'll spend more time on this, and it all goes ahead and it averages out at the end.
What has been the most difficult thing that you have gone through in your life that you would be willing to share?
I really think it was the deal with scoliosis, of entering high school in a body cast, and kind of being different than other people, and kind of feeling myself as apart. And I learned from that to step back and not always be as outspoken, and just kind of go ahead and keep things inside. And so even though that was many years ago, I think sometimes when life gets tough, I go back in that shell, and I'm quiet. I'm not as outspoken as could be, and it's just a part of evolution of just allowing yourself to be open and let other people know what's going on and what's happening.
Absolutely.
And
did you experience a lot of like people treating you differently?
Well, I think when you have a body cast, people look at you as though you're different. There's something wrong here, and it's not here. It's just the body cast is here.
Right.
And people they're kind of cruel and they're kind of heartless, and so that's kind of given me a compassion to other people who have issues, and trying to understand them for where they are and seeing them as a whole person, not as minus because of this or minus because of that. Just seeing the whole entity of who they are.
we tend to be pretty judgmental beings, you know, like when we see people that are different than us, it's easy to judge someone.
Right.
Even like their response, I try to really understand. Sometimes people just come off a little weird or strange or rude, and I feel like, you know what, maybe they had a really shit day, you know, or really crappy past that they haven't let go of, and they just, it's their insecurity, it's the shield that they put up, you know, to protect themselves. So I think, coming back to your point earlier, helping and being kind, right? By just showing kindness, at least you give them an opportunity to say, hey, I see you.
Right.
You know, I accept you, versus being judgmental right off the bat, or reactive right away. You know, when someone is rude to you and then you're like, fuck you, you know, like, which is, most of us are all on edge all the time. I see people driving, like, I'm like, okay, you had to cut me off? All right.
Did you really have to? Was that what it was all about?
Is that important to you? You know, it just
go ahead. It's just like, it's amazing. I was listening to a motivational tape today, and it had a good line, and it was, why do we always go ahead and compare ourselves? And they said, you know, a lot of these comparisons and these judgmental things come from our past and the things that our parents and the people that we look up to have said. And you know, it was going ahead and saying, when you say those things, I'm not good enough, you go back and you say scratch, and it comes up again, you say scratch, and you start to go ahead and break those things. And it said, you know, the problem in life is we don't try and aim ourselves to the leaders in the world, but we're aiming ourselves at the guy who's driving the car and the guy who's doing this. And you shouldn't aim yourself at these little people and so on and so forth, but think about that person at the top. Who's the person that you want to be, and who's that person that you aspire to? It doesn't matter what all these other people said. And it's, you know, it's just like countless times I've had my you know, you have your hands read and so on and so forth, and they say, well, you know, in your past, there's this person who's going ahead and watching over you, and they're very jealous, and they're very protective, and they don't want you to go ahead and succeed, and so on and so forth. Well, do you lead your life going ahead and saying, who is that person? What is this all about? Or do you be the best version of yourself and just say, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to know. I'm not trying to prove it for them. I'm doing it because I'm being the best version of who I can be and do the best that I can do. And that's what's really important. And
that's gold right there, because it's, people get so caught up in drama, you know, and who has time for that?
No,
cut those people out of your life. You don't need them. They don't do anything other than just drain your energy. And like you said, you spend all this time trying to figure out why and how and what happened and why. What's the point?
Yeah,
you know?
it's kind of like this person, you know, sent me this message, and you're on the brinks of this, that, and the other, and then sent me 50 emails afterwards, and you can do this for $97. Just click $97 and send it to me at this post and this post. Why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you answering me? Well, if it's really free, it's free. It's that, you know, just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I saw another gentleman who handed a business card, and it was on the 5 points of you know, self-confidence, of, you know, standing up straight and with your back up and looking at the person eye to eye and modeling and mirroring what the person goes ahead and says, and you're giving that to a person, a card of, you know, here's a gift to you, and didn't say here's my $5 or here's my $10, you know, go ahead, pay it, but you know, it's just a gift for being yourself and being who you are. And you know, just as you said, let's come and have this conversation and, you know, share the world with what it is that we have. And one never knows what's on the other side, because as I said, you never know whose life you can touch with the words that you say to be the best that you can be. And hopefully somebody will, listening and watching to this, will say, hey, you know, I don't need to care what that person said to me. I'm going to get up and get out there and just make it happen and do it and be it.
And you said it, being yourself. So many people, and you know what, I've gone through that too, where you always try to impress people, you know, especially in the industry, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. You try to be cool, you try to, you know, be different and be edgy, and at the end of the day you're like, man, I don't know who I am anymore, right? Because I'm just trying to be this person that I am actually not. So the bravest thing you can do is just be yourself, and either people accept you and love you for who you are, or they don't. And that includes all the, you know, with social media. For me as an artist, for the longest time, I really didn't like meeting my fans, because I didn't want them to know that I'm a normal person. That I'm just like a very mellow, cool, like, for the most part, a really normal person. On stage, I'm this crazy thing, and I love to go wild. But when I'm down, I'm off the stage, I am not that same person. I am, but I'm just more normal. And for the longest time, it scared me. I was like, oh my, I don't want them to know that I'm not like 24/7 gothic, like that I'm not 24/7 crazy. And at some point I was like, fuck it, like, who cares?
That's right. That's right.
That's just who I am, and I'm not gonna, because it was also like, again, putting that shield up, people probably thought, wow, she's got attitude,
Right.
When in reality, I was just scared that they might see me like for the real me and not like me. And so, or like think that I'm phony on stage, and we are not. We are so many things.
No, there's just so many different parts and labels to us. That you're the person who loves a dog. You're the quiet person who wears a shirt of positivity, and so on and so forth. And yet you can go on stage and be this, just as I get up on stage and I'm a completely entirely different person than the one who's going ahead and sitting here and just having this conversation.
Because you have a different audience, and you have a role to play.
You have to appeal to those different people.
Yeah. And still being you, because that's part of us. We're multidimensional, and we should not be afraid of that. That, you can be a city girl and you can be a nature girl at the same time. I am, I like both the same way. I can go crazy partying, or like go out camping and be away from everybody and everything. I haven't done the 10 days of silence yet. That scares me. Maybe start with one day.
Well, there you go. There's 15-minute meditations you can go and do and get started on that path. And
but quiet time, I love quiet time. Even in the car sometimes, not having music on, just driving and just have nothing going on, no noise, because you're right, everything is so distracting. It's always something going on, and sometimes our brain is just like, it's like computers, shut me off. give me some downtime, and delete some stuff, put stuff in a trash can, and just like delete it.
Exactly.
Like old friends, like you said, some people in your life, and
you got to just take off and let go, because they're no longer serving you of helping you to get to where you are. You're a reflection of the 5 people that you spend the time going ahead and hanging around, and it's they bring you up, they bring you down. It's who are they? Yeah. Why do you allow them into your life?
So true. I'm kind of going through that right now, where I was reevaluating like certain people in my life. I don't really need them anymore, because. And it's not being using someone, but when you give someone all of your time when they are there, but they don't return that, I think it's a give and take, right? And you have to be careful not to be used by certain people, or you don't want to be that person that's just always there when they don't have anyone else. That's not nice either.
Right.
Like an unconditional, mutual love that is exchangeable at any time. What is coming up for you in the future, or immediate future? And
well, there's all sorts of things on the horizon. I just finished a talk with Toastmasters up in Northern California. I was training this people to be secretary. I'm working on my DTM of distinguished speakers.
That's awesome.
Being the top level in Toastmasters and things like that. Have some things on the horizon, working with a gentleman, T.R. Garland, on social media of how to make yourself a better speaker, author, and writer. Got a call coming up in a little bit. And then I work on an online company that's helping people to reduce their bills and their services that they pay, so they can spend more on the things they love, or the nonprofit groups that they have.
Okay.
And teach it in the college classroom. And
what do you teach in the college classroom?
In the college classroom, I teach speaking skills and how to get up in front of an audience and to go ahead and speak and present. I've been doing that for about 20 years.
Wow.
And it just keeps going ahead and evolving, and there's always new stuff that's on the horizon. Hopefully I'll have some speeches that are up and coming, looking to get out to more groups and speaking in front of them.
That is awesome. Yeah. And I think it's so important, because communication is everything.
Yeah.
How we represent ourselves, and they say speaking is like the biggest fear still, right? That people face.
Right,
like
more people fear public speaking than
death
itself. So that's pretty amazing.
That's crazy,
Yep.
I'd rather die than speak in front of people.
Kill me.
That's crazy. That is really crazy. Toastmasters, a friend of mine, he keeps talking about it. His name is Cisco Rodriguez, and he's been doing it for a couple of years now, I think, and he loves it too. So Maybe that's something I might
Well,
want to look
hey,
into.
there you go. I can invite you out to several groups. There's one that meets on Monday night. There's a Spanish one that meets on Tuesday night. Just let me know.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm all about. I think it's August, right? It's like half the year's over, and we still have a chance. And I think a lot of people going on Facebook. I've seen a lot of people going through this internal, like, soul searching of what's next. What can I do? Because as the year dwindles down, like, we were like, okay, what did we want to accomplish this year, and what's going to be for the next year? I don't even like to think that far ahead, but I feel that today's a new day, it's a new month, and let's just make things happen. And I'm all about always trying new things, meeting new people, trying new things. I know people that say, I don't want to meet any more people, I have plenty of friends, and I feel like you're shutting yourself off from new things in your life. And if you have really great friends, that's amazing, but I think it can never hurt to have more, even colleagues, if you want to call it that, but you never know, like you said earlier, you never know whose life you might change, or what may come out of a conversation, out of a meeting. And just saying, hey, because when you came up with Mike, right, at first we were like, oh, bye, and then I'm like, wait, what's your name? I didn't ask you your name. It's like, how rude is that? I'm like, hey, you want to buy a CDA later? No, what's your name? You're really cool. You're a really nice person. And so it doesn't take much to make friends in a world, and that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, because I think a lot of us are so lonely in a such well-connected world. With internet, we are all connected. We're just, everybody's a click away. Yet we are so lonely, and again, live a life in solitude most of the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's space for that. But you never know who you're going to meet if you just, like, open yourself up and say hi to someone. Give them a smile and start a conversation. Like, you at a post office, and everybody's just, like, on their phone. Like, anywhere you go.
Everyone is just on their phone.
I'm in my own world with my friends, with my, virtual friends that are not really your friends.
Exactly.
Connection starts in person, and it can start online. I'm not saying that's not true, but the importance of just being able to communicate and connect on a deeper level and have real conversations, not these superficial conversations, which are just like, you might as well not talk. What's the point? It's so great having you. Your TED Talks, where can we find them?
If you go to RosalynKahn.com, one of them is called Language Comes to Life, and it's about taking my students to the theater and how it changed the way they learn the English language. The other one was called Coming Around the Curve, on that battle with scoliosis and how that made me a more compassionate human being.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the other one's called Breaking Cultural Barriers and How Everyone Can Make a Difference. And they're available. They can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm Rosalyn Kahn. I have an Instagram page, which is Rosalyn Kahn, and a page on the book on dogs and roses and things like that.
Love it.
On Facebook, and they can go to my webpage, and anybody who comes on and wants to say hello, we'll see if we can offer them 15 minutes of a coaching session so they can come out and experience the art of what it's like to get up on a stage and speak, or help them to solve some problem in their life.
So love that.
And, just mention the two of us got together, and here we are on the 5th of August.
Yeah.
The 5th of August, and remember the 5th of August and our talk here, and say, yay, here we are. This is where we heard it, and we'll see if we can get that out to you.
That is so great. That is so great. Do you have any last words of wisdom, advice for anyone out there?
Well, whatever you think your problems it's only in your head. If you just simply open up your mind and you make one small degree of change today, it's amazing what tomorrow can be with just a small little switch. And every day you just add that small little thing, and you begin the day with gratitude. It's amazing how much better the world can be by going ahead and saying thanks. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me this opportunity.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast and got something out of this. Please check her out. She's really amazing. Check out her books and go on our website, RosalynKahn.com. All the information is in the links below. And I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic week. And I can't wait to talk to you again next week. And if you know someone who's interested in coming onto the podcast, has a story to share, please hit me up on Facebook or on Instagram, or just via email, JacquelineVanBierk@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you, and have an amazing week, guys. I love you so much. Thank you for supporting this, and I'll talk to you very soon, next Wednesday.
clouds. The sharks are out. It's fight or flight. If you're lucky, you might survive. If you're lucky, you might survive. See the light. Jump, dive in. When you're desperate, you feel you'll do anything, anything. Sink or swim. It's the chase, the danger, the pleasure and pain. Jump, dive in. When you're destined to win, you'll do anything, anything. Lose yourself. Let the bloodbath begin. They love to feel the high. You've gotta turn the key. If you're lucky, you might survive.